So a little bit of a different look to this team. A lot of youngsters. What do you like about this team? What are your thoughts heading into the fall?
Well, I would say just coaching a lot. I think primarily here over the last few weeks leading up into this point, our coaching staff's just done a really, really good job of, quite honestly, trying to keep things as simple as possible, because we do have a lot of new players, but also coaching as hard as possible. Really doing a lot of coaching, a lot of instruction, a lot more communication, but keeping that communication very, very simple. And the guys have been just incredibly receptive to everything that we've been doing with them, working really hard, competing really hard in a lot of the drills and a lot of the fundamentals that we've been covering with them. Focusing on individual player development right now a lot, really just trying to get everybody in a good place individually, so that when we begin team practice, we can start competing together and feel like the guys are in a good spot to start fighting for jobs.
How good is it to have all those young guys that you talked about this summer on campus and ready to compete?
It certainly has been beneficial. Just having the freshman class come in for summer school, getting them acclimated to the academic side of things, along with the weight room side of things, and then just campus life. It's been great. And when we start the school year, the only thing they had to get adjusted to was baseball, because they had already been here for a majority of the summer, working hard in the weight room, working hard academically, and just getting used to Clemson, the campus, the town, and everything around here. So that's been very, very beneficial.
What do you feel like going into the fall that you really want to try to get accomplished with this group in the fall?
Really, just that the expectations are for each one of them individually to get better. That's the main thing, but also just from a competitive standpoint, just understanding that the scoreboard matters in the fall. I think that's the biggest challenge sometimes that we find in the fall. We enter squad a good bit and we play a good bit. I think guys understand that they're competing for jobs and opportunities to play in the spring, but that the scoreboard matters, and that winning and losing matters, and just trying to get them to understand that their job is to do everything they can that day to help their team win. So that's been our big message, is we're all about individual player development, but when it comes time to play, it's time to win. And are you helping your team win? And that's going to be our big focus for for the guys when we start playing.
A lot of times you head into a season and you're like, well, we know that this spot will be this guy and this spot will be this guy, but I would imagine you got everything's open, right?
Yeah. I mean, we got a lot of spots. I mean, just look at it. The catching position, just working our way around the field. Adam Hackenberg signed a professional contract, and he's no longer here. And we've got Jonathan French and Cooper Engel. Both those guys are very, very good, and they're going to be fighting for that job back there. First base, we know that Caden Grice. He is the man in the program, freshman All-American. He's going to be out for a little bit. He's banged up a little bit, and we're going to be very, very cautious with him, as we should be, which gives other guys great opportunities to be able to get in there and compete to make their position with the team better going into the spring. We've got a young man in David Lewis, who's a local product, that's been swinging the bat really well. He's played third base in high school, and he's getting acclimated to first base. And Briar Hawkins is back, who's a veteran. We expect Briar to be a guy. I think that's the biggest thing. Briar has shown us flashes, and over periods of 8, 10, 15 games has been very good for us. But we think Briar could be even better. We think he can be an all-ACC caliber hitter. He's one of the older guys on the team, so we're expecting him to step up from a leadership standpoint, but also from a production standpoint. But it's our job as coaches to get him there, and we're doing some things with him to help him get there. We've got a transfer in Tyler Corbett, a young man from the Citadel that was a career 300-plus hitter at the Citadel, is a grad transfer, and he's fit in really, really nicely. He's a blue-collar, tough, hard-nosed player that can really barrel baseballs and has a lot of experience at second base. And Max Starbuck is back. He's an older player. Shortstop, is going to be a battle between. We've got another transfer from the University of Dayton, Ben Blackwell. again, we've only been doing individual skill work, but I think he is a high-level defender at shortstop, a high-level defender. And he's also a guy that has I think he hit 350 last year at Dayton, so he can hit a little bit too, and he's looked very good. Blake Wright's going to compete for that job as well. Blake had a monster summer this year in the Coastal Plains League, and he's better. He's going to play. Blake's going to have to be in that lineup. I think he's one of the better hitters out here. Then over at third, you got Max Wagner, who was an all-star in the Northwoods League this summer. We saw spurts of it last year as a true freshman with Wagner. Very physical player, has power, an above-average defender at third base. And we have a true freshman out of New Jersey, Aries Samick, who's a very gifted player, very talented player as well. Is loaded with tools. He's going to come in and compete. He's part of that great freshman class that we brought in. And then the outfield, Chad Ferry, all-star in the Valley League. He looks really good. We didn't have Chad last year; was hurt the whole season. Chad looks very good right now. We have a transfer from Daytona Beach Community College, Spencer Rich, who's very talented, looks really good out there. Dylan Brewer is probably in as good a shape as he's ever been in. He's very confident right now. He's been getting reps in center field. So we've got a number of guys that we feel very, very good about. And then we haven't even talked about the pitching staff. And I've had a chance to see the guys throw live to hitters one time so far, but really like our pitching staff and what I think we have a chance to do on the mound with guys like Anglin. Anglin had a monster summer, had a great year for us last year, but you expect Mac to take another step in that leadership role, but also potentially being the front of that rotation along with Grice. A big focus for us this year is putting Caden in a position to be a potential weekend starter along with a middle of the order hitter. And there's a number of other guys. I mean, you got Nick Hoffman. Nobody talks about Nick Hoffman. Nick Hoffman, I would say, arguably was our best pitcher last year, quite honestly, and he looks very good right now. So Jeffrey Gilbert's back. Nick Clayton had a great summer in the Cape Cod League. He's gonna push for one of those starting jobs. And out of the freshmen, we've got Billy Barlow, looks like a future star. Quite honestly, in the very few times I've seen him throw, and we're talking about a guy that's 93, 94, just in the bullpen with heavy sink. He's also a TikTok star. We got to talk to him a little bit about some of the TikToks that he's putting out. But overall, he looks like we got you guys have the ability to hit it. So, but Billy Barlow looks really good. Jake Deal, young man, big 6'5", 240-pound freshman out of Tennessee. He's been up to 92, 93, some in the bullpens. Rocco Reed, local lefty. We feel like has a chance to be pretty good. So, I mean, there's a number of freshmen, and I'm sure I'm missing somebody, but we feel very good about where we're at. It's a very selfless group. And I just like the fact that, quite honestly, it's a very low maintenance group right now. It's a very quiet group, very methodical group. They just kind of go about their business and they work. And you kind of expect that. We lost a lot of older guys that had a lot of personality on the team, from last year. So these guys are just kind of, quietly going about their business and working really hard. And it's been a great, pre-fall practice few weeks just with the individual skill work that we've been doing. It's been a lot of fun and been a lot of good quality sessions with the players.
Is there anything that you looked back on the past year or two and said, you know what, I'm going to tweak this for Monte. I'm going to make Monte better?
Well, I think one of the things as a coach, probably one of my biggest weaknesses, and I think and maybe it's just a characteristic of a head coach, is, when things aren't going well, you want them fixed. And when you want something fixed, you tend to do it yourself. So, I mean, that's just the way that I kind of always am. If I feel like we're not doing a good enough job in certain areas, I feel like it's my job to try to make it better. And sometimes just stepping in trying to overtake certain areas of the program that I don't feel like we're maybe living up to my standard. That sometimes I'm the one that needs to step in there and do it. And quite honestly, I think my job is to make sure that I'm communicating to the coaches my expectations, but also allowing them to do some of that too, and allowing me to observe a little bit more. I also think we need to be more. I need to be more consistent across the board over the course of the whole year, and make sure that the messages are consistent, and that I'm not adjusting and changing again based on how we're performing, and just stick to my guns. Look, I'm not one to. I don't like to talk about myself a whole lot, but I know I can coach. I've had a lot of success as a head coach. I've been doing this for a long time. I've been a head coach since I was 31 years old, and I've won a lot of baseball games, and I feel like, I know what I'm doing, and it's really just trying to get back to the basics and just simplifying and being myself is, I think, a big part of this. I'm just going to be myself. So I think that's a big part of it too. Not worrying about outside noise and worrying about things. Look, this is a hard job, and there's a lot of expectations. And I think sometimes when you focus on expectations, and you focus on the outside noise, and you focus on all those things, you forget what got you here, and you forget what makes you successful, which is just being genuine, being yourself, and making sure that you put the players first and put them in a position to be successful. So that's been my biggest thing, is just trying to get back to basics, but being consistent. Trying to communicate more with the coaches and letting them do more of the communicating with the players on things that are important to me, and trying to observe a little bit more. But I think that's kind of been the biggest thing, and the main thing is trying to take better care of myself too. Trying to sleep a little bit more if I can. I've always been a big exercise guy and workout and all that stuff, but just the amount of stress that you put on yourself, I think it doesn't do me any good. So just trying to relax a little bit more around the guys and enjoy it and take it in a little bit more, and that's, I guess, in a nutshell, and that's about all I want to talk about myself. So
what about Will Taylor?
Well, what about Will Taylor? I mean, what can you say about Will Taylor? I mean, he's pretty impressive. Will's a very gifted athlete. I think we all can see that on the football field. I've been seeing it on the baseball field as well for quite some time. I mean, he's above average runner on a baseball field. He's got power. He's got bat speed. He can throw. I mean, there's nothing that he can't do on a baseball field. But on top of that, he is also an incredibly humble young man. His faith is important to him. He's a high character young man. He's a hard worker. He's a very determined young man. But he's going to show you what he can do. He's not a big talker. He's going to show you what he can do on a football field and on a baseball field. And his early success with the football program does not surprise me one bit. And he is, this may develop some arguments among the Clemson fans, but he's an even better baseball prospect. I mean, this is a guy that, quite honestly, he turned down top 10 pick type opportunities in the draft, and there's those guys, they're not out there growing on trees. So we're talking about a guy that, could have potentially been a top 10 pick in the major league draft, and he turned down that opportunity to come play football and baseball at Clemson. So he's an unbelievable talent, and he's just as much, if not even more, a better human being. So he's quite special.
Does he carry over his nickname from football?
Oh, I don't know if we're going to call him Maverick, right? Is it Maverick, I think I heard? Right. Yeah, I don't know. I tend to try to give guys nicknames like once I get out here and see them play. I don't know. I think we'll leave that one for the football program. But you know what? Look, if he wants to be called Maverick, I'm sure, if we'd have no problem calling him Maverick when he comes over here.
Do you wince when you see him get hit?
I do, yes, every time. Like that first punt return when he got smoked out of bounds, I was like, come on now. I had to get up and walk around the couch. Is he okay? I wanted to try to reach out to somebody on the sidelines, but I figured, they don't have their cell phones on the sidelines, so But yeah, no, I mean, you worry about those things, but you really can't. Look, he's got to go play football.
Sure.
We can't worry about that kind of stuff. So, what a great opportunity for a young man to be able to to play football and baseball at this level. That's pretty special. I certainly haven't had the opportunity to coach somebody like that.
With Caden, is there anything you could share about his injury or how long he might be out?
He's going to be out for a few more weeks. I'd rather not, just share the nature of it. But we don't think that it's anything serious or, anything like that. Knock on wood. But we feel like he's going to be fine. If you ask Caden, he thinks he could go this weekend. So and that says, look, Caden wants to play. He wants to get on the field. It's driving him nuts not to be able to get out here and practice with us and work with us. But we want to be, as precautious as we can with him to keep him healthy.
Will was saying that if he can make it over for a scrimmage, he's going to try. He's done a couple batting practice, or a couple times a week. He's been taking BP and stuff.
Yeah.
How do you see this fall kind of playing out for him?
You know what? I'm not focusing at all with him as far as this fall, and simply because he needs to focus on football. That's his priority. He needs to do everything he can to, and he is. I don't really even reach out to him too much. He's got enough on his plate just trying to be a student here and being an athlete for the football program. I don't bother him one bit. And look, I know if he gets an opportunity to come over and cut the lights on in the cage on an off day or, a lighter practice day or something like that, he's going to come over here and get some swings in. So I talked to, one of the pitchers in the building like last week. He said, yeah, I had to, feed one of the pitching machines to Will the other day at like 8 o'clock at night, so he's going to find time to come over here and get some swings. So, but quite honestly, I just kind of leave him be and just let him focus on football right now.